Hey everyone, so here's a quick video for those of you that have purchased Gravitron from us. If you have the Gravitron that has a multi-wii board, this video will apply to you, and you're going to see it's a very useful video here. I'm going to teach you guys here a few things on making some changes for your multi-wii control. Just really basic stuff that may seem really intimidating. But here you're going to see, once I walk you guys through it, it's actually pretty simple. So the first thing you're going to want to do before you can make any changes to your multi-wii board on your Gravitron, you want to purchase an FTDI adapter from us. So this is an FTDI adapter. I mean, even if you don't purchase it from us, you can get it somewhere else. But we sell it, and the one we sell, we're sure it works with our units. So that's why we recommend ours here. So this is the FTDI adapter. When you buy it, it already comes soldered as far as the connector, the proper connector you need. So there's no need to worry about that. One thing we do not provide is a USB cable. So you're going to need a USB. This is a micro USB. You're going to need that. You could also hook that up here like so. So I have the multi-wii software already here opened up on my Mac. On Windows it's pretty much the same thing. So I have it here. It's multi-wii conf. So I'm gonna just hover over that, but I don't want to open it yet. So let me here make this window a little bit bigger so you can see it here on the right. So the reason I don't want to open it yet is because I want to plug in this connector into my computer first. So what we're going to do, we're going to plug this in through the USB. You're also going to see when I plug it in, it's going to light up. So let me here plug it in. You can see a red light on there. So don't get scared. It doesn't mean it's going to blow up or anything like that. It just means it's getting power. So now that I have that, I can set that down aside, and then we can go into opening that file, multi-wii conf. So let's double click. Okay, so what we have here is the actual GUI interface for this multi-wii board. When you guys first see this, you're probably going to go crazy saying, oh my god, what did I just get myself into? But don't worry about it. There's really only 2 or 3 things you need to worry about in all these numbers and words and all this weird stuff it's throwing at you. So the first thing we're going to want to see is our COM ports. So these are all the COM ports it's detecting here on the left. You can also see it says COM port. There's also a drop down. If it's not there, you just hit the drop down to either hide it or show it. The reason we wanted to plug in the USB before we open the software is so it can detect it. So you can see there it's slab U BTOUART. On a Windows, it may call it like a COM port 9 or a COM port 3. It's actually going to probably ask you what COM port you want to be when you're installing the driver. On a Mac, this is how it appears, but pretty much you're going to see it come up here. So what we're going to want to do, you're going to want to click that COM port. So in my case, it's slab U. So I'm going to click that. When I click that, you see it all went green, or not all of it, but a lot of the buttons here went green. Next thing I want to do is what I did. I actually unmounted a controller from a unit just because it'd make this video a little bit easier. But what we're going to want to do is, obviously this is assuming the unit or the camera is facing away from us. So let's pretend the camera is up here in the front. Like I said, I took it off just to make it a little bit easier here for the video. But just imagine that's always the front. So if you see, there's actually a little arrow there that points forward. So that little arrow is always front. Where we're going to actually connect the FTDI adapter is on these pins here. You can see there's 6 pins. So on these 6 pins is where we're going to want to connect this guy. But there is a right and a wrong way of doing it. The wrong way to do it is with this side, or where the light is, facing towards the center of the board. This is the wrong way, this is the correct way. So wrong, correct. So obviously we want to put it in the correct way. So we want to do, remember, LED light facing away from the center of the board. We want to connect that, line all the pins up. You can see there, she's coming alive. So what we do now, we can set it down on the side, and you're going to see there's a button here that says start. What we want to do now that everything's connected and we selected the right COM port is press start. As you can see, almost everything just went green on us, which is a good thing. Really the only two things you need to worry about, the reason I'm making this video is for people that want to change how aggressive, or maybe it's too aggressive as far as the way the unit reacts. So let's say you got a Gravitron and it's a little bit too aggressive for you. You want to tone it down a little bit. All you got to worry about is this value here. Let me try and hopefully zoom in on it. Is a value here that says rate. You can see it says rate, and then it's going to say expo. So if it's flying too aggressive, you want to turn the rate value down. If it's flying a little bit too easy for you, you want to turn the rate up. I typically recommend it in about 10-digit increments. It's not that sensitive, so you can mess with that. Also, you can mess with expo, the box right below that. What that's going to do, it's going to change the expo, or the stick around center. So it's really how sensitive it is around center. So, you know, if your unit is a little bit too twitchy around center, increase that number. If it's too soft around center, decrease that number. And that's pretty much it. Another thing, depending on where you live, if you live in a colder environment or a hotter environment, the sensors on these boards, they're pretty sensitive to temperature. So you may need to calibrate accelerometer. The calibrate accelerometer button is right here. It says calib ACC. And to see those values, if you need to do any calibration, you pretty much look here. There's a little, let me try and zoom in on that, see if we can pick that up. Okay, there we go. But what you can see, there's ACC, which is our accelerometer. You can see the values here, -4 and 16 and 507. Really the only ones we care about are the two top ones. In this case, if I had this board, I haven't calibrated yet, so it needs a calibration. You want the values, the first two values, to kind of be around 0. So you're going to see here, I'm going to go over to calibrate ACC, and you're going to see here what's going to happen. They zero it out, and there you go. It takes about 5 seconds, and try to not, make sure your unit is as leveled as possible when you do this, and also do not move it when you do this. As you saw, it takes about probably 5 seconds to do, and now you can see my values came back to 0, or closer to 0. It's fine if they're jumping around, so don't worry a lot about that. Another thing I wanted to show you guys is all the Gravitrons, unless it's requested by the customer, they all ship out in what I like to call self-leveling mode. So if your unit's flying, let's say flying to the left, and you let go of the stick, it's going to level out. And the switch that controls that is aux5. Now, if you want to change that and you want to make your unit, a little bit more sporty or sport flying mode, where you don't want it to self-level, I also call it rate mode. It pretty much holds the position. Like I said, that's a lot better for FPV, for a little bit more aggressive flying. The box you care about is the box up here that says angle. As you can see, there's boxes that are grayed out and the ones that are white. So the ones that are white are the ones that's how you know in what position the angle mode would be enabled. Obviously we have it on a two position switch on our radio. So really the center box doesn't really matter. I can actually leave that unmarked and it still work. But if you want one mode to be self-leveling and one mode to be rate, what you would do, you would uncheck, let me show you, I'm going to do the first one here just so you can see. You would uncheck the first box. Now you see how it went grayed out. So when the switch is in that position, it's no longer going to be in self-leveling mode. It's going to be in angle mode. Now, if I want to reverse that switch and have it be the opposite, all I do is I check that one and uncheck this one. Remember, we don't care about the center one because it's only a 2-position switch. If it was a 3-position, then that one would matter. But you can also check when you have your radio hooked up. You can actually see here on the unit when angle mode is enabled. So you'll flick the switch and you'll see that instead of the angle being green, it'll turn red, which will mean it's disabled, which that'll turn off your self-leveling. It's actually really fun, but it gets, you know, a little bit more aggressive. But for you guys wanting to mess around with the board, you know, feel free to do so. For you guys out there that are kind of like me and you like to you know, mess around with boards and really learn them and tweak them and here and there, and maybe you're wondering what the rest of the values are. The rest of the values are PID settings. These units do come pre-tuned as far as the PID settings go, so there really isn't much to tune unless you really want to mess with it and you really want to see what the values do. But you know, as long as you know your PID values, as long as you move them in about 5-digit increments, you should be fine. You know, nothing too drastic, and you'll see changes in adjusting PIDs. Whereas if your PID is too high, you'll start seeing the unit oscillate, you know, and little stuff like that. But for you guys wanting to mess around with it, what I'd recommend before you mess with anything is save your file. So there's a little box here on the left that says save. What I would do is I would save it. What that's going to do is going to save all these settings and name it default Gravitron settings or whatever you wish. Once saving them, you can go ahead and start messing with everything. Then later, if you made it worse, you actually have something to go back to as far as default goes. If you made it better, well, great. But like I said, these units do come pre-tuned. But as far as that goes, when you are done doing the either calibration or anything you're programming here, actually let me check back this angle box here, make sure that's white. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. But yeah, when you're done, really all you got to do is disconnect it. You're not going to hurt it. Another thing you can do, there's a box here that says stop. You can see this whole graph here and all these numbers are going to stop when I hit that. Boom, see, it froze everything. So you can disconnect it now or you can disconnect it without stopping, but as far as disconnecting it goes, just disconnect and you're good to go. Like I said, one thing I really want to emphasize, guys, is make sure you plug this in the right direction. Not doing so can actually fry the BECs in the ESC is what I've found. Don't ask how I know, but yes, so be sure you always plug this in with the red LED facing away from the center of the board, not towards it, but away. And also, you know, be sure you line up your pins properly. I've unaligned them or misaligned them, whatever you want to call it, one time and nothing happened to it. Try not mix them up with these up here. Just if you do, you know, miss it by one pin, you should be fine. Nothing should happen to it, but direction is key. Also, a few guys out there, you may notice you'll actually do what I just did in the video as far as hooking this up, and you're not going to get a connection. For depending on what version you have of the Gravitron, you may need to power it with a battery. So really all you got to do is plug up your battery, and then you'll get the solid connection right before we press start. So like I said, if you have a unit that's not connecting when you plug this in, here, let me plug it in. When you plug this in and you come here and you press start, if you're not getting all greens, all you got to do, shut the program down, restart it again. Then next time around, apply battery to your unit, you know, a 3-cell battery, and then press start and you should get all the green lights. So that's pretty much it for today's video. I really hope you guys found this video useful. A lot of guys have been messaging me, asking me how to really get into the guts of the Gravitron as far as programming it. Obviously, you guys out there, you are gonna need to take off the top plate to access this board, which is really simple. They're 2 millimeter hex or Allen keys. So just, you know, unscrew those. and then you'll have full access to the FTDI pins here for the multi-wii board. So like I said, I really hope you guys found this video useful. If you have any more questions, you can either post them here in the comments below or send us an email, dronepros@gmail.com. Once again, dronepros@gmail.com. As always, thanks for watching, guys. Till next time.